Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 367. Oop, couple of mistakes. It's always bad when you have the echo feedback in your headset because it makes you stutter. I thought I had it turned off. So I wasn't going to do another one till the weekend, but I decided to do a quick live show now to cover some new stuff. Hopefully it'll be interesting like the last show and the previous show to that. It's not all debunking or video analysis or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to show up. They'll be getting email alerts about now, I guess. And looks like Discord's just got a beep from Twitch that we're going live. So what's today's topics? Triangle UFOs, Pacagoula, new information, and some video analysis, some more stuff there, and Bigfoot of course, some new Bigfoot shows. Got some snapshots of the shows, so I'll just show those to you and review it. I better pause that. So we're at to hello. Good to be back. I'll be back. Always back. I might be not the most well-funded UFO channel under the sun, but I've been doing it for years, and it's about the topic and not about the money. Although I need to get a better computer eventually and improve what I'm doing here. So if you've been on BitChute, you'll see I uploaded Borgware, my old computer, when I first started 4 years ago. So you can have a bit of laugh at that one. Okay, Area 51's joining us again. How's it going? I see you've changed your colour on the screen. It's red on Twitch, but it's blue on the main screen. I'll just type up the welcome message on the other screen. It'll pop up in a minute. I wasn't sure if anyone's going to show up or not. Most of the people watch it offline on Discord. Not Discord, on BitChute. So many things I'm a member of, and so many things I use now. So many different social medias to promote. OT channel, live stream, 367. Haven't been sleeping very well, so bear with me. The heat here gets to you. So we got triangles. Some more information, new information has come out. Triangles, Bigfoots. And a laser system. Laser beam to this. New evidence. Can't seem to type. Or the keys are not working. I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, it's finally up. Looks like Area 51, your colour is the same as mine. I know, slightly different shade. So yeah, and let's get into it. Non-scripted, live video analysis and all that. So we've got a fair few tabs here already and still left over from last time too. and we'll see how much we can go through. So first of all, I just want to talk about a new series called Paranormal Declassified. I've got a few episodes that I managed to take some snapshots off, and I'll just show them here. So it's quite an interesting show. It's like an investigator, journalist, has got access to the declassified new CIA documents, or whatever it was, FBI documents, and doing some research. And he said, look, in the past, a lot of the Bigfoot sightings have been on the East Coast, but it's gradually been more sightings on the other side of the USA, the West Coast, I mean, not the East Coast, isn't it? West Coast, which is California area. And then he's saying that the migrated, there's been various sightings through the middle of America here, but the hundreds of sightings are now showing up in Ohio, southern part of that location, and which is quite interesting. He's pointing to all the thumbnails of all the reports that he's read, and all the latest ones have been over that location there. So it makes you wonder if they're migrating, maybe heading up to try and find the land bridge that doesn't exist there anymore. But there are some mysterious things that he talks about, where some people have said to him that they disappear. It's like the interdimensional, which is what we've been saying for a long time on this channel. That there could be also alien visitors, right? And although they disappear, they might actually be entering a cloaked ship that we don't see. Rather than being ancient ancestors, a tree branch from the human DNA tree, as you call it. So this is the guy that does the investigation, and he's got a map here of the state in question where there's been some latest sightings, and he goes there, basically. Goes there and sets up, instead of those cameras that detect movement and take a snapshot, he's trying something different. He's put these sensitive sound recorders on trees every certain distance. I think he had like 20 of them. So he worked out in 5 miles, wherever it was, he'd put it every so many meters. And on the way back, they hear a vocalness which sounded a wee bit terrifying and crazy. So they pulled off that closest device and left the other ones there, I guess, and got the hell out of Dodge. And you can see here he's playing it back on the laptop here to listen to the sounds to see what the recording had done. And I got an expert to run it through because it's like 3D mic direction analysis, and found that all the sounds were coming from the same location. But he said one sound sounded like a mimic of a wild dog, a coyote, I think it was, and another sounded like a gorilla, and I think there was a third sound as well. And they said that was all covered from the same location. So they go back there next day or whatever, and they use a drone this time, get a drone up in the sky, and they eventually find a pin of some person or Bigfoot moving around in the bushes, and they hike there and find the structure here. So my problem here is they got no visual evidence of a Bigfoot, So it means that someone could be pranking them. with the vocal sounds playing it back from tape recorders of various animals, right? And just running off or hiding. So yeah, this doesn't look really impressive build here at all, does it? They talked about it being Bigfoot nests, right? So I'm really a bit skeptical whether they actually caught something that was validating the Bigfoots in that area. So yeah, it's still an interesting show though. Go and check it out. There's a wee bit more there. I won't spoil it for you, but that's almost like a preview of what's going to come and who he talks to and all that sort of stuff. And what else they find in the area there. So you'd have to go and dig out the show. I think it might be on was it Discovery Plus that all these shows are showing up on, and Travel TV. They're the two main players at the moment. I think that was the last one. Yep. So I thought that was quite an interesting show. It's a wee bit different than normal. But there's another show also competing with it. Although the Paranormal Declassified actually looks at all different subjects from lake monsters to UFOs. So go and check it out. There's a few episodes there so far, I think 8 currently out. So this is Expedition Bigfoot, which is on Discovery Plus, and they reviewed last season's, and this is the image they got, and experts said it was like a huge bipedal thing with long arms moving away from them on thermal image. So yeah, it's best to go and check out the show itself and actually see the emanation of that. And they also discovered one of these Bigfoot nests. Looks a wee bit better than this one. Looks more believable than the other one in the other show. Plus they found dead bird around there as well. Some food left behind, like they spooked them and they took off. But also they had some strange occurrences occur. They caught these UFOs in the sky, orbs. I've talked about it in the past, and then they get a hit of a Bigfoot, or thermal hits of what they think is the Bigfoots heading away from them. So what was the UFOs above? Was it sort of like a part of the aircraft or not? Or they're being dropped off again? Maybe they're like Predator, where they come to Earth and hunt for deer. Maybe we're the only planet that's got deer. Or they like don't like to take one home and sort of farm them. For some reason they come here for a hunting trip. Who knows? So it's crazy to think of stuff like that, but you never know. And they did try to replicate to see whether it could have been a mistaken human in the area, but it was like a remote area that had like 0 humans up there. And you can see here the 6-foot guy is no comparison to the Bigfoot they got on the thermal imaging. So they got some interesting evidence there. Obviously you can see it's a big thermal hit, and it was moving away with the arms swinging, so yeah. And of course the new series has begun. They start off with an intro like this, where they're chasing something and they hear a big splash, and at the edge of the thing they see a footprint, a big toe. So yeah, we're yet to see how that pans out. And they're in a new area, this kind of crazy area with lots of valleys and peaks. Looks like an ideal location, and caverns are called. A lot of mining industry there. A lot of caverns here where Bigfoots could migrate through underground tunnels, or maybe even alien creatures called Bigfoots hide an underground base there. Who knows? But yeah, look at that crazy area there. Almost looks like something you see on another planet. So that's the. So what they use, this series is a wee bit different. They use big data. So they take all the reports that have been reported of where the Bigfoot sightings occurring, and it works out where the next sightings likely to occur, and because it's in this area here. But they interview a lot of people on this show talking about hearing strange noises, you know, the screams and wood knocking and all that sort of stuff. And they reckon that the Bigfoots mimic the coyotes, which kind of makes sense. If you wanted to call out to another Bigfoot further off, I suppose you could do a cough. I mean, a call of a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Kinder, thanks for subscribing. You can see our subs are going up all the time here, despite what fraud channels keep saying that I'm all alone and everybody's unsubbing from me, which is ridiculous. I probably do more interesting stuff than they do, and I do better research of it. So yeah, apparently if you had a Bigfoot doing a scream and with a certain pause in between, that could be like some sort of distance language, you know, like a signal saying, watch out, humans are in the area, or come over this way. Kind of makes sense, right? Encrypted. So yeah, that's what I've got on that one. Just a few screen snaps, just to get you interested again. Dig it up and watch it and see how it pans out. If it's any as good as the first season, it's going to be a good one. But my problem is, could someone be pranking it? Of course they could be. They could be playing back to screams and all that and just punking them, right? You know, because unlike the first season, the second season people know they're in the area, and which makes it a bit more prone to being pranked back or hoaxed, and people telling lies, of course. At least the first season it was totally unknown what they were doing, and it was so remote there was no one around that particular location. But yeah, if you've not seen it, go and dig it up. The other good show on the third one is called UFO Witness. So it's Ben Hansen doing investigations. It's been a bit of flop until it got to episode 3, and then it got a bit more interesting. So the story is that comes out on episode 3 is that his granddad, which is this guy here, may have been one of the scientists involved in crash retrievals, because he told his father before he was on deathbed confession that we're not alone, and that's all he said to him. So he kept a lot of the secrets to the grave. Why, I don't know. Maybe it's that threat that they're going to kill their children if they say too much, even after they died, that they don't want their kids to be killed off. So yeah, I suppose that kind of makes sense, that, you know, or they can make their life hell for their children, getting sacked and all that sort of stuff. You know how bad it is on the internet, where you can start call people pedos and ruin their lives when they turn out to be innocent. So you can see how the Men in Black could do similar things and block their funding or get them arrested for fake crime. So here he is talking to his dad, and his dad was telling the story about the deathbed confession, but also talked about that on a particular night when this thing here, the Kecksburg UFO crash, happened that same night, his father left on a secret mission for the government, and he was gone for quite a bit of time, and he reckons he was one of the people to investigate the craft and being in it. So turns out that they said that Wright-Patterson is not the location where they're sort of analysing crash retrievals anymore, but they claim it's now been moved to Dugway. And look what we got here on Dugway, someone's videoing the base, and it's got one of these radar blimps that we talked about a couple of live shows back. Remember, we had some footage that we analysed from Arizona. Hidden camera. And didn't have English subtitles, but that's where his father says on the deathbed in German, I think it is it? We are not alone. And Dugway is in Utah. Why won't it sing? What's going on here? There we go. I think my mouse button's playing up. I'd give it a tap. Oh, that's better. I think it's got a droid joint happening. It's quite old, this mouse now. It's Microsoft one. So yeah, you can see it's a perfect place to do secret testing, to have an Air Force base out at Utah, right? I wonder if it's linked to even the Skinwalker Ranch. You never know. So yeah, I probably need to have a look at Dugway. Let's just bring it up on the map. But it gets a bit more interesting. We've got some more story to come on that. Dugway. Without creating too much of a spoiler, hopefully it's going to create a bit more interest to go and watch the full series. I'll just comment in on a few aspects of it without trying to ruin it too much. But there are new stuff that comes to light that we've never heard of before, which is kind of interesting. Where's USA? Dugway Farrap. Oh, that's where. Is that the place? Proving ground. That's where Art Bell was. Far Rump, wasn't it? Definitely going to be a desert area there. Was that Dugway? Dugway doesn't quite say, does it? Proving ground. Where we got that? Which obviously means where they test bombs and all sorts of stuff. Dugway Proving Ground, okay. Looks like they spray a bit of water around for some greenery. But everywhere else is a desert. So how does that relate to Nevada when Utah's next door? That's quite interesting. Utah, Colorado. It is next door though. It's going to be a fair distance away from Art Bell's place though, surely. Let's just put it up on the map. Well, it says Nevada there, doesn't it? Oh, that can't be right. They said it was Utah. definitely Utah there. Just type that in properly. Dugway, Utah to how'd you spell the other place? Rump. So, Nevada. Okay. I didn't draw a line between, so what's happened there? I didn't tell it to do that up there. What's going on here? It changed what I had. Dugway. Now this is where you start to find connections. Proving ground. I'll just type that in. Okay, now we're getting it better. So it's a fair distance away from where Art Bell was then. But they said that's where they're doing a lot of the reverse engineering of the triangle craft. And that kind of makes sense because Art Bell said a story where one flew over him and his wife over the highway silently. Massive craft, right? And it was heading in that direction. It must have been going to Dugway Proving Ground, right? We often think about Area 51 though, but in this case I don't think so. It was going from Nevada to Utah. So anyway, we'll just carry on. Looks a very hot place. So obviously this is hidden camera footage that someone's trying to film the area. How's the audio sound? I better check. Any crackle? No, it sounds alright. Let's mute it again. Laser range in use. Do not enter. So apparently, because of his father, or great granddad of Ben's, they actually had a house that overlooked the Dugway Proving Grounds. And he was saying one night him and his sister, his dad, in that sense, not Ben, his dad and his sister were looking out on the balcony and they saw a big beam of red light come from the ground. Not as like a thin pencil, but quite a wide one, like a plasma beam. And at the very top was a cigar UFO, which is kind of interesting. And they said little UFOs seem to come along and go into the cigar-shaped craft and disappear. And the beam stopped. Whether it's some sort of offensive weapon, and the aliens were interested to see what was going on, they don't know. But apparently there's a beam that shoots up here that they've got there. Whether it's some sort of weapon to protect the base, because if they're doing reverse engineering, right, UFOs might be trying to get back their technology or recover the bodies or anything like that, right? So yeah, it kind of sounds interesting story. And there's another guy which apparently filmed the laser beam, and that's meant to be it there. From a photograph, and he's taken up another photograph which is less washed out of this laser beam that's going upwards. So it's sort of like a hanging there, right? It's not like it's like a big laser pointer. Whether it goes out into space, I don't know. whether it was trying to attack something coming to Earth, or it was trying to create a shield over the base. Who knows? But you can see it looks like it's low light, and that's lighting up the whole area. The guy's name is called Dave, obviously, and he said there was 2 sphere UFOs that come over to investigate the beam. Doesn't look really red there though. Why's the colour washed out there now? So that's one of the questions I would have to ask. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's any more. On their laser beam thing, but no, it looks like there isn't. So yeah, you have to listen to the full story and go and dig up the episode. I think that was on episode 3 again. And then this one's some stuff I got from episode 5 or 6, I think it was. It could be 6. So you've probably seen this guy before. He's from Pacagoula, famous UFO event where they got abducted and taken aboard a craft. He's now... This is the young guy that wouldn't talk much about it. You know, the older guy was always on the radio talking about the story, but really he's not really talked much about the story at all, and wanted to forget about it. But apparently, in 1993, he reckons he's got missing time and he got abducted again. So we've not heard that information before. And he also talks about what happened to him in the UFO, which was always vague, because I think it's Charles, was it? Said he didn't know. He was taken in, but didn't see what was actually happening. But he talks about he was horizontal, and they opened his mouth and stuck this claw finger in the mouth and something else, and did something to him. Maybe an implant, who knows. And so he doesn't sleep much at night, he reckons. He's scared that they're going to come back. But I don't think you can stop it, can you? You can't stop them. They show up anytime they want to and paralyze you. So yeah, I suppose we're going to hear more of his stories to come. I think there's been a few more documentaries made. Of course, they got this crazy woman, which I don't trust what one word she says, Laura Eisenhower. To me, she looks crazy, crazy-eyed. She might be related to some famous president making up all these claims of stargates and jump gates to Mars. I just don't believe it. I think she's a attention seeker. And she probably makes good money from it too, probably. But yeah, I just don't trust this one. She's just repeating what other people said as well. No evidence again. So they do talk also to other contactees or abductees. So apparently Rob managed to get this picture of the UFO that abducts him. Doesn't look much again, does it? Just a streak. And that was 2009. I don't know if it's worth doing any analysis on that. Whether it's a streak because it's moving fast, or maybe it's just the whole edge of a craft on an angle, which is kind of interesting. It's not horizontal. We might just zoom that in the editor. And he talks to this guy here. I can't remember what his name was now. But this guy here claims that the triangle craft are actually ours. That Roswell actually happened and Kecksburg happened. And the They've been reversed. They managed to reverse engineer some stuff, and they couldn't get it in a normal, get it working in a saucer shape, but they could get it working in a triangle shape. I suppose if you put engines on the corners, right, you got more stability, right? Opposed to a dome or a circle. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it was clear whether or not UFOs also can be alien in the shape of a triangle, but it does seem to suggest that Doug Way have managed to reverse engineer some of the crashed UFOs and stick it in a triangle shape, and that could explain why it's got a lot of ventilation and pipes underneath that people talk about all the time, and the humming noise, which is typical of the triangles, isn't it? A humming sound, which sounds like a generator, almost like a high voltage generator, you know, electricity. So yeah, it's quite interesting stuff on that episode. And he reckons that they reclaimed from Roswell crash some material that they used on the Blackbird SR-71, and there's one of these TR-3Bs or triangle craft. So yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff happening in that series that's worth listening to, and of course a lot of other stuff is garbage. And I've just shown you some of the best evidence so far. So even that took about 36, what's that? What's happening here? Alright, so let's go on to the next bits. To the next topic. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I should just play this one anyway. Bigelow's come out of hiding. And he's asked on an interview from George Knapp, I think it is, what he thought of Bob Lazar. So we'll play a wee bit of that. Right, I'll just need to look up those bookmarks and post it on the side for you. So before I move on, Paranormal Declassified. The travel channel. So I'll just post the link to it so you can go and have a watch of it. Fortunately, we can't play video clips, because of copyright and all that nonsense. Even if you play a trailer, they get you nowadays. I've had that problem before. And of course, UFO Witness wasn't well promoted. I stumbled across it by accident. Let's see. I've got to type Discovery Plus something of this. Which is a paid streaming service, I think. UFO Witness now streaming Discovery. There you go. Okay, it's coming up. Maybe it's not the best page, is it? Well, she's got 5 minutes to chat about it. I don't know who she is. And that wasn't the page I was after today. Travel. Well, that says same thing here on Travel TV. Did it actually start off on the Travel TV and then migrate to Discovery Plus? I don't know. They air on one channel, do they, in America, and then they sell it to the other channels, and then other people get to see it? I don't know. Why can't I get a decent page to it? Oh, here we go. Discovery Plus. That's Norway, though. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah, it's definitely Norway, so it's getting around. Why is it not coming up with the American site? .com Discovery. Obviously, that's a gravy train, isn't it? India. It's just crazy. I can't find it in the searches. This is how useless Google is. I'll just type in that then. And quotes. Maybe that'll help. Still coming up with that WF La. I suppose it's LA something, is it? Let's see. What is that Facebook one? Probably some group, is it? It says Travel TV there, so I'm not too sure. Pretty sure it's on Plus. Maybe that's where the problem is. Well, he's got to be interviewed somewhere, isn't he? Who would have thought it was so hard to find a link to it? Facebook, Season 1. Oh, we've got a movie database. Mothership returns. Oh, well, we'll post that link. You can find where the stream site is from there, probably. UFO Witness. Ben Hansen. So it's taken all that time just to review those ones. So what's Bigelow got to say? I'll give the link to it. I'm not sure how much we can play of it. Let's see where it goes. So it's only 6 minutes long anyway. Mystery wire.
Bob Lazar pops onto the scene.
Oh, it's not very loud.
And you wanted to meet him. You did meet him.
Yeah.
We hung out. We would go out and just BS for hours. We'd go up to Rachel, go out in the desert.
Right.
A lot has been written about you and Bob, your relationship. You went into business for a while. How you sort of, you find him to be a fraud. He made it all up. You parted ways. It was acrimonious. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I never viewed Bob as being a fraud, as to Area 51 and all of that. I spent a certain amount of time in conversations with him. We put a little bitty business together, and
I can see why George Knapp's doing this interview, because he wants to promote obviously his movie and all that with Corbell, right? And they want someone as powerful as Bigelow to say he didn't see Bob Lazar as being a hoaxer. So it looks like this guy's backtracking on what he said previously then.
I tried to do something for about 4 months in that business, and so I had opportunities to test him, like you would, like anybody would, and see if he repeated the same thing and stuck to his stories and or what kinds of things could I find that were not legitimate. And I didn't find much. I wouldn't say it was zero, but I didn't find much that I could say, oh no, this guy is absolutely off. In what he's telling me is the truth, and so I wouldn't say that he had not experienced a lot of the things he claims that he has.
You think he did?
I think the odds. I would look at it in terms of odds. This is Las Vegas, right? So I would say the odds are Bob Lazar has, for the most part, on everything he has said, it has been telling the truth. Those are the odds. And I would say if you're betting against that, you're betting against substantial odds, and that the chances are you're going to lose. If you think that he's been lying, the chances are you're going to lose.
There's also the allegation about element 115. Do you think element 115 existed and that he had a piece of it at one point? And did he try to fool you with the 115 and the aerogel?
I discovered that aerogel was not what it purported. I guess what he was saying it was, and it was accidentally. I accidentally came across the fact that this beautiful, smoky, very lightweight kind of crystal.
Weird, yeah.
Was aerogel, totally by accident. I happened to be going through a magazine, and I thought, oh my God, I saw a picture of this material in the magazine, and I pursued it and found out it was alcohol-based, it was aerogel, it was invented in the 1930s, and it could be used as an insulative kind of material. It was 5 times the weight of air, and it was beautiful. It looked like a kind of a gem. Gee, you'd want to put it on a woman's finger because it looked so beautiful as a big ring. That was the only thing that I really felt that of a physical piece of something. So I have no opinion about the element 115. I think Bob was intriguing because he knew so much. He's a smart guy. He's no dummy. He's a smart.
He's all over the place. I'm not believing what he's saying here at all. We know Bob Lazar lied about lots of stuff. I think it's 20% of what he said we can fact check. The rest of it is made up, right? We knew he probably did work there. As what capacity, we don't know. It's possible that he did see an early prototype of a TR-3B or similar triangle-shaped plane through the bus window. That's very possible. But whether he saw UFOs in hangars, I don't think so. I think that's made up. And the element 115 is made up from reading magazines. So I've never trusted Bob Lazar's story at all, especially when I looked at the science of gravity waves. Now, if the UFOs were using gravity waves, and we've got LIGO and some other gravity wave detectors now that are so sensitive they can notice a neutron moving in an atom, that if a UFO was flying around using gravity waves, it would be like the ghost hunters meters, so it would be flying off the scale, right? It'd be detecting a big burst of gravity waves because it's pushing it out the thrusters at the bottom. So either LIGO is false positive and there's no such thing as gravity waves, which would discount that Bob's story about gravity waves is how UFOs work, which means his story is BS, or we would be detecting the UFOs all the time, which is not happening, so it means also his story has got to be BS, right? So either if the gravity waves exist or not, and the UFOs use it, or they don't exist or not, either way, these UFOs using gravity waves doesn't check out. It's like the same side of the coin, right? So yeah, Bigelow here, I'm not sure if he's losing his mind or what, or he's up to something. Maybe he's creating some disinformation here by backing up Bob Lazar's story, right? He knows the truth for sure.
Man, he's a smart guy, and very creative. And so, again, I say that the preponderance of evidence to me is in his favor. That he's by and large legitimate.
He had told me that aerogel arrived with the 115. It was like packing material, and he didn't know what it was. But later, I guess he developed a story that he told you about what he thought it was. But he didn't decide to say it was 115.
Well, it doesn't mean that he would necessarily know what the original custody of the material was, right? Just because it's associated with something doesn't mean that this bottle of water, which stands next to something else peculiar, they're both connected. You know, so it means he may have leapt to that assumption that the aerogel, because it was in association physically nearby or whatever with the 115, was somehow connected, and he just didn't know what it was. You know,
That's
so
what he told
I
me.
would give him the benefit of the doubt on that, and because I don't have anything else that is more concrete, I'd rather not say, well, somebody, you know, that he knew differently.
One of the tests you did was to see if he was motivated by money, and what you've told me is that you didn't think he was.
I tempted him. In different ways. I can remember in a conversation that we had, and he probably isn't even aware that I did that. But I offered him money. I forget the circumstances now, but it didn't tempt him at all, and so.
Yeah, makes his story less credible, wouldn't it? But anyway, we'll leave it there. The reason that Bob Lazar went to Knapp in the first place was to stay out of jail, right? Remember, they took his ID off him and they caught him in the desert looking at experiments. He obviously knew that they were doing experiments on a certain day. Might be like that laser base that we're talking about. There might have been some early development of that where they shoot a laser beam up at a target in the sky, a cigar-shaped drone or whatever, and see if they can destroy it. So who knows? I think this, it's not black and white, but somewhere it's grey in the middle there, the truth of all this stuff. But we do know that aliens do exist, and alien greys do exist, because there's just too many stories out there now, incredible people that have come forward with their experiences. And also the MUFON thing that we talked about last live. I don't think somehow that she would be making up a big story like that, especially when there was other witnesses that can back it up. So, but we haven't seen those other witnesses on camera with her, but maybe one day we will. So, yeah, maybe someone will actually capture some decent footage. She messed it up, as I talked about last time. So you got the link there. You can listen to the rest of it if you want to. It's only a little clip anyway. Moon bases, probably have to recap on that at some stage. I see the page has been updated though. But we'll go over that again. Lunar anomalies. Okay, what was the next one? Just skimming quick through it here. Okay, so Third Phase put out this thing here of some new footage of a secret mission to Mars. And I looked at that there of a port. Kind of doesn't look. It kind of looks like green screen effect there to me on the edge. And sure enough, let's see. Scott had found the image they used for Mars, but he hasn't found the image they used for the capsule. But I think I've seen it on some Apollo missions where they're looking through a window and the hand waves in front. But I can't remember what Apollo mission it was. But maybe that'll be found out eventually. But yep, it's just a hoax. Third fake of the moon. Okay, so if we go to their website, it might still be up. because I never remove stuff, remember? It's always clicked and clicks, which equals views, which equals add bunny. So let's see if they still got it up. NASA, what the heck? New secret man mission to Mars. There we go. Oh, very loud. So we'll just play a wee bit of a clip that they say they've got an email. Yeah, we'll get on with it, guys. Let's have a look. Why is it going out of focus? Good question. So these guys didn't do any research before releasing it. So I'm pretty sure I've seen that before. I'm just trying to think what video it was. So it looks like a porthole from an old space mission, right? Even looks like an old spaceship, not something that would be modern. There's one part where the astronaut puts his hand in the way. Where is it? Which looks like a normal old space suit to me. If I can get that. They're too busy talking and not showing the full clip. See, that looks too clear. If you haven't looked at some of the old moon footage, right, it was never that clear. So I wonder if we're looking at moon footage that had been recolored. It's a bit hard to tell, but apparently it is Mars. Okay, where's the astronaut's hand in the way? There we go. And I mucked around with it. Anyway, go to Scott's breakdown. I'll post a link to it. So you just put that this morning. And it talks about what the image they used, which is a high-res scan from one of the probes, right? Oh, this guy's probably got the full video here, so we can see it in full without all interruption. And there's a lot of cuts here, wasn't there? You know, that's a bit suspect. A lot of zoom-ins. So he took 3 stills from the video, and they found the video here, which is ESA, that has all the frames of that video, and he claims that they match exactly. So the question is, could you have a second manned mission to Mars where all the images seem to line up exactly from a past mission? And probably stats wise that's not possible, right? Which means it's got to be faked footage, because the shadows on that particular day will be different. Also, maybe not as bright, maybe darker. So, and of course, bit suspect is how the video starts and ends, of course, as well. Why it would all be in that single frame, the whole footage, rather than them landing on Mars, right? There'd be some footage of them landing, but to make it more believable. So yeah, I'll post a link to it. The Mars debunked. Secret mission unlikely. I wonder if they put it up on Amazon as an episode, because they shouldn't. Unless the ownership's on them to prove what they're saying is conspiracy or UFO or whatever. As it becomes more noise and disinformation, right? Debunked. So you can have a lot of that on your big screens yourself. If I can type it in. Okay. So that's Mars mission done with. And of course they added this one. You remember that old footage? So you even added that on. Of what I believe is the Batman mobile in space, right? It's obviously from all that USB stick they found, claimed to have been found, with all these strange images on. And I think if you get the Batman mobile, you can actually line it up with this model in space here, which again is not CGI modeled exactly, but it's still computerized fakery, which they claim they never put on their channel, but obviously it's nonsense. I'll post a link to my post there where I thought it looks really suspicious when I first saw it. So what else has come out? Quite a bit, I think, since I last talked. How long we got? We're not doing too bad for time. Okay, so we got this other one that's come out here with the 3 streaks in the sky. So let's see if we can find that one here, I think. Goes on a bit, doesn't it?
From Colorado, the Mile High guy has submitted this video to us. He's asking questions. What the heck is
Mile High guy? Got silly music, right? So, doing a digital zoom, I think. Kind of looks like 3 meteorites coming down, but it's not. It's an optical illusion again. So if we zoom on that, you can see it's 3 jets in formation, probably military jets like C-130s or something like that. Not well, rocket jet engines rather than propellers, but it'd be that size type plane. What ones have jet engines on it? B-52s. But you can see these look like typical contrails here from possibly 2 motor on each wing. 3 jets flying together. Colorado. I suppose there's a few military bases over that way. Now let's have a look. Suppose we can type it in. Air Force bases. Wonder if it'll come up. See how it works. There we go. There's a whole heap there. So 310th Space Wing. There you go. S4 base, USA firing range, Air Force station. So what's these ones here? Pedersen Air Force Base, North Gate. So yeah, I wonder where the person is. Denver, maybe. So yeah, this just looks like it's coming down, but they're actually flying horizontal. It's just optical illusion, alright. But they're actually flying horizontal, maybe even coming downwards on slightly as well. Fairly obvious, it's playing contrails. Yeah, it looks like it's going to go below the roof line there. And then they start filming. So are they sort of flying horizontal and slowly coming down to land? Or are they going to drop some bombs over a proving ground? Okay, have we got anything else on that one? Okay, so he's comparing it to other videos, right? 3 dots in the sky. Again, that looks like partial contrails from 3 planes. And it looks like it's either early in the morning or evening, and of course they're a different color, white, orange. Some contrails can be very short, right, instead of big long ones, and depends on the cold and hot layers of atmosphere. And we've got various snapshots here, no video by the looks of it. But you can see one's longer there. Looks like it might be a video. They're certainly far away. And that's what I was saying about the Skinwalker Ranch photos. Remember they were seeing little blobs like that in the sky. I said to me they look like contrails. That might be about 200 kilometers away. So you don't see the planes in front, right? And it just forms these little clouds that sort of evaporate very quickly and looks like a UFO tic-tac, and then it disappears, right? So that's a good example there of what the Skinwalker Ranch guy probably caught. And here's some ones with the dark contrails, right? Definitely planes. You ain't going to see a little speck of thing on the front here, because the planes are very small compared to the contrails. So if you Google that for a comparison image, a jet, passenger jet, you'll see it's only going to be a few pixels in front, even on the best high-res images, not smartphones. Contrail. Now, we've talked about this lots of times, right? So these are closer, obviously. That's a 4-engine one. This 4-engine one too. Let's sort of join it together. So you can see the further away they get, this plane's getting smaller and smaller, and because it's white. I wonder if I can find one that's just a dot. Here we go, here's one. So you can just, even though that's a really good shot, you can start to see that the plane is going to blend in. especially if it's white. What else we got here? These images are too good compared to smartphone. Well, there's one where you can't see the plane, right? Even though I go maximum, you can just see it now. Just a little speck at the front. Of course, that's on a better camera than a smartphone. Here's one that looks kind of like a dark speck instead of white. And that's also closer to the camera and better camera. Here's one where you can't see the plane. That looks like a 2-engine one there. And you can't see the plane at all. And there's another one where you can't see the plane. But it's there. It's just not, the camera can't detect it with a sensor, right? So that's what we're looking at here. These are ones with dark contrast though, and they're a lot further away from the camera. Probably over airports. Where they're getting a cold pocket of air as they're coming in. It creates these short contrails. So the same with these white ones here. And these guys know it. Just look at that guy's face, right? Duh. I'm trying not to laugh at you fools. Does that look like a serious look of a real UFO investigator? That's the look of a con man, as far as I'm concerned. So now he's talking about UFO clouds, right? This is ridiculous. A UFO cloud, see, it's got bits in it like a UFO would have. Is it a cloaking UFO? No. These just happen over mountain ranges, right? Slipstreams and cold layers of hot in the air, which forms the clouds with those ripples. And if you film it for long enough, you see it dissolve anyway. It's not very good cloaking if our aliens are using that kind of technology, trying to be a cloud. Okay, so this one here looks like it's like light pillars from the ground. And that happens when you get suspended ice crystals in the air. And you get like city lights from casinos and very bright spotlights, street lights. Stadium lights is another one, where it creates these columns and they go up a certain distance. So yeah, so there's still cloud UFO people, and that contrails again, just repeating the stuff. So that one's debunked. We'll have a look at other stuff just to wrap up this section. I don't think there's any more we need to look on these. I think we've covered it. Bound to be more coming out though. So we have a look at Scott's Twitter page. He normally does other stuff from other sources rather than third phase. On newspapers, that's being pushed on newspapers. So what do we got here? Navy finally confirms their bizarre UFO paintings are total BS. Do they? This is first I've heard. Of course, you'd expect them to say that anyway. It's called cover up. So that's not proof in itself, you know. You can't trust them saying they admit it's fake. why put up the patents in the first place if they're fake? Doesn't kind of make sense. In fact, I would say that some of them are actually quite legit, and that's just more disinformation. Okay, so there's the video we looked at before, and that's also the same videos I looked at just before too with the contrails, right? Colorado sounds like the right location. Clearly contrails, so Scott's confirmed what I said as well. And of course Mick West has also been onto it. It's kind of a waste of time trying to prove that one though, or I would have thought. They seem to pick some easy ones, I think, to try and debunk. What else we got? Hoax exposed. Clear shots of a mothership. So let's have a look at this one. Is this the one over LA? Is it? I think Diane, was it, messaged me last night, and I said, yeah. She said that her friends saw the same things, but in this case, whatever they saw wasn't the same thing, because this is a hoax. On Jan 30th, 2021, the tabloid TMC published an article about alleged UFO sighting with clear shots of a mothership on the outskirts of LA. I haven't actually seen the video myself, but obviously it's on the website. Okay, so straight away you can see these reflections, and also they could put a watermark on, which ain't really good. Looks like it's being filmed through a car window, right? Looks very blurry. Definitely on a highway. There we go. Is that the dashboard there? What's that there? Something on the edge of the windowsill. Snow, is it? What's that there? Okay. So if it's being filmed through a window, we can sort of suggest that there's going to be some internal lights in the car that might be faking the video. And you can see the bonnet of the car there, so it's definitely going through the front window. I saw it there before. Black car, I think it was. Before he zooms in. Can't quite see it. There it was. Definitely inside the car. Oh, there we go. So what I thought was snow is actually reflections of light off the black car edge. Goes very quickly. There. See all the reflections off the black shiny surface of the car, right? So what is this internal light we're looking at then? Doesn't look like a mothership or a UFO to me. It does look kind of strange, almost cloud-like. Some internal reflection of some dials on the dashboard, maybe. Let's see how it pans out. Explain? That's not how you spell explain. Explain. Is it carrying on? Taking a long time. Yeah, so he's now showing a video of his Twitter, which ain't really good. And so we'll find the other images instead of looking at the video. So he knows the model of the car, apparently. So he's saying it's the Speedo. I suppose if he needed to overexpose it, so it would match it a bit better. And the hands of the Speedo look like they might be here and there. So it's round the wrong way. And of course you need to rotate it on the ZX plane a wee bit and overexpose it, and it'll probably get a better match. But let's have a look at his other pictures. Oh, here we go. Further down. So what are we looking at? It's got some sort of stereo, is it? Or is it some sort of heat control? It's got a red thing on the edge. Aha. So it's a clock. Internal clock, not a speed dial. So sort of matches up, doesn't it? Red bit here reflecting, and an internal clock reflecting off the window. So yeah, I probably agree with that. That's not correct. So it's not a speed dial, it's actually an internal clock on the dash. That must have been the early guess. Here's one with other speed dials reflecting off the window. Did we look at the other stuff here? Now we know for sure those Pakistani guys don't know what is a weather balloon and don't know what is a Pacagoula cloud, which is a UFO cloud, isn't it? So yeah, bright dots in the sky are often weather balloons. Remember those 7-foot ones. Weather balloon, which grow in size as they go upwards. So this is the typical weather balloon. I'll just get images up. These ones here. These are what they use everywhere in the world. And these ones are high altitude balloons, which are totally different. These are made from latex, and they start at 7 foot, and as they go up to 115,000 feet, they expand to 32 feet and eventually pop and come crashing down to Earth, probably a few miles away from where they took off, depending how fast the slipstream is they're entering. And then they go and pick up the debris, and because it's got a GPS on it. But yeah, they're all the normal weather balloons. They're not just like local weather balloons. That's what everybody uses. And the high altitude ones are the ones go up even further for other experiments, right? These ones here. They can be up to 2 stories big. And scroll further down again. Let's see. Oh, didn't want that one. It's also like cloud for a UFO. Okay. Geo News. So it sounds like someone else debunked it. India University. Is it going to play? Let's have a quick look. Oh, music. Can't have that. Oh, I got it muted. That's weird. That cross doesn't mean a thing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it kind of looks like what we've seen in previous videos when we've analysed it being a weather balloon, and it's out of focus then when it goes super big and it's overexposed. It looks like it's travelling on air currents there. A lot of these people, then they film these weather balloons, they don't pay attention to which way the wind's going. But because the weather balloons are actually measuring the wind's direction as they're going up, and eventually they'll post the data from these balloons to the website, and you'll be able to see which way the wind was going at different layers as it goes up, because wind can change direction due to the hot and cold layers and slipstreams, right? So you might notice the wind goes a certain direction up to a certain height, like 1,000 feet, and then it changes, and it might go in the opposite direction. So there's a lot of science involved in understanding all that sort of stuff, and you have to look it up on websites and stuff. So yeah, and the rest of it we've sort of covered already. So we'll probably wrap it up there. Hour and 26 minutes, and the lunar stuff maybe in the weekend with some other additional stuff thrown on. And I probably need to get a drink because my voice is going. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show anyway, and go and check out those TV shows. I recommend them. I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy them. Most UFO TV shows and Bigfoot shows tend to be rubbish, but the latest ones do have real credible scientists involved and investigators, so that sort of adds to it. Some experts, which according to the fraud channels, there's no such thing as experts, but there are. Everybody has a little niche area in the field, and when you join a lot of scientists together with their little niches, eventually you got a powerful group of people, right? And yeah, I suppose I've got to create a thumbnail and upload it everywhere now. Okay, we've got a new subscriber. I don't know, let's update it, see if anyone's subbed while I've been on air. Takes a wee while to update, it's not real time. And Area 51, you still out there listening? I know we've had one regular viewer the whole time, and it hasn't gone up anymore, so let's see if we get some more subs once I upload the episode. But yep, better wrap up, and close that down, and I'll say good night on the side. We'll see you again in the weekend, hopefully, maybe your Saturday or Sunday, and put up the end credits. And if you're new, do click on follow on Twitch. Would be good to get up to 50 followers, then we might be able to upgrade our status as a membership. And if you can find the time to come and watch us live and interact, would also be good. So it's just not me showing you stuff. You can ask questions or interject and disagree if you want to. And I better end this. stop yapping. That'll do. Good night all.